All right, let's do it live on a Reaction Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. We came on here a week ago, and there were, I think, 6 things that had to happen for us to lose to Cincinnati. This wasn't that. This wasn't that one. The first half had that to it. The second half, it got away in a big way against a team that was properly motivated and ready to really put it on us, honestly. It's hard to sugarcoat this. This is 0-2, and it's a overwhelming loss in Baltimore against a rival. And there's some things here and there defensively, obviously, but this result is not one that you can be happy about in any way, my friend.
No, it's
By the way, good to see you on a Monday.
It's great to see you. Great to be with you. Judge walking by. Hey, Judge, how are you? It was brutal. It's brutal. It's very tough. It's tough. This is a football team that we've kind of laid it out for you, and I hope that not prepared you for it, but basically said, look, if this is a team that's going to win, here's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to play very good defense. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to run the ball effectively. They're going to have to be able to hit some shot plays off of play action and get the ball down the field built off of that run game. And then you've got to be net neutral to probably positive in special teams. Mm-hmm. And so far this year, the defense has done its job. They get 41 points. They did their job.
Yeah, they did.
Defense did their job, and we can get into that more as we go on. For the most part, defense has been through 2 weeks, though. They've held up there in the bargain. Run game has not been there, and really, Quinshon Judkins got some runs late when the Ravens starters were out that make the numbers look better than they were. The run game has not been there. The vertical passing game is completely non-existent. Completely non-existent. In fact, average air yards per target for Flacco is down. It's the lowest of his career so far this year. And in 2023 is one of the highest in his careers. So that's not there. And then special teams has unfortunately been an abject failure. And in many ways you could say directly linked to one loss. And in this game, if you were going to win, you're going to have to jump on them. And the defense certainly was playing well enough. The offense wasn't, but to have a block punt, give them their short field for their first touchdown, not great. So this team, we kind of told you what the formula had to be, and right now of that formula, you're producing 25% of it. Mm-hmm. That's not going to be good enough to win, and it has not been, clearly. And in this one, it's amazing if you just said, hey, man, all right, this is all I want to know for week 1. How did you do against Burrow, Chase, and Higgins? Mm-hmm. Completely shut them down. Chase and Higgins combined for 59 yards receiving. Chase and Higgins this week, even without Joe Burrow for the benefit of a full game, as we found out that he's going to be out for quite some time now, and it sounds to me like that's probably going to be a season there in Cincinnati. But just for apples to apples, that same duo of
Chase had 14.
Chase and Higgins combined for 211 and 2 touchdowns. So they went from 59 yards to 211 and 2 touchdowns. In week 1, the duo of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry rushed for 239 yards. Wouldn't you know? And 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. That duo against us ran for 36 yards.
Yep.
So in terms of saying, and that's one of the bright spots, right? The defense gave up a grand total from the second half against the Bengals through halftime against the Ravens, which is 4 quarters. That's a full game. They gave up 88 yards to 2 of the best offenses in the NFL. And crazily enough, you were in that second half from the time that Cincinnati took the football, so you were -3 because we were ahead 16-14. They get a field goal. They win 17-16. And in this one, you were -7. So your plus minus is 10. You're negative 10 points over that stretch, and you've produced as an offense a grand total of, you could say 9 points total, but I'm going to say from the point the Bengals got the ball and have only generated 7 yards of offense that half, so you produced 0 points, and you produced 3 in the first half of this game. So 3 points in 4 quarters when your defense has given up 81 yards. That's hard to do. That is hard to do.
Yep.
And we have done it. So this has been a disappointing situation. Teams are not afraid to play us in cover 1. We've seen a decent amount of cover 1 so far this year. We've seen really 2 coverages more than most teams is the way that I like to kind of break it down. And those two coverages that we've seen more than most teams have been cover one, which is man with a safety over the top, sometimes a robber in the middle as well, and cover 6, which is the cover 4 on one side, cover 2 on the other side. There are and so cover 6 is more of a shell coverage. It's saying you're not going to get anything over the top.
Nothing over the
us.
top. Yeah.
Now the man 1 says we either think we can get home, we're going to bring that extra guy down in the box to stop the run. We haven't been able to run them out of the too high safety looks. We've seen teams show a lot of too high safety and then rotate it down into one. Baltimore's done that. And we just don't seem to have the answers or the execution to take advantage of those answers thus far. And so that has been, I think, for the Cleveland Browns, it's got to be, right? That has been a little bit frustrating. And obviously, I understand why. Because those are things that we've seen in the past. When you can't beat cover 1, typically that means your guys are not getting open or there's not enough time to get them the football. And if you can't beat the other stuff, it means your ground game is not good enough. And so now there's really nowhere to go other than short passing, and they're just sitting on it. And that's kind of been what's happened to the Cleveland Browns offensively. And that's why when you do that, it's very difficult to be a successful offense. And our EPA against cover 1 is one of the worst in the league. That's tough. That is a tough situation if you expect to be, a very good football team. So when I mentioned standout, so we've seen the 5th most cover 1 of any team in the league, 29.5%. And then we have seen from a cover 6 percentage perspective, the 2nd most cover 6 in the league, 17.4%. So those are the two coverages that people have kind of said, you know what? Those are coverages we've decided we want to play for whatever reason. Those are coverages that we want to play against the Cleveland Browns because we're kind of bottom of the league in cover 2, bottom of the league in cover 3, bottom of the league in cover 0, and bottom of the league in quarters in terms of percentage of our plays faced. The two that are the anomalies right now are cover 1 and cover 6.
Yeah. And then going beyond that, so when you factor that in, and then you also factor in, and I do, this is subjective, but it's also, I think we can be big boys here and say that this is kind of a fact. We do not have the 1 to 53 talent right now of some of the teams that we're playing. Now, we have some high-end talent. Myles Garrett is shot out of a cannon.
He's the best defensive player in the league, period.
It's him and Jamar Chase, best position, non-quarterbacks, most value, all of it. Like he's bringing it. And Denzel Ward, when he's out there, is as good as any mirror corner in the league.
I mean, you just saw what happened when he came off the field.
And that's where I'm going. So what we don't have, and ownership said this in the offseason, we are in transition. We're a team in transition right now. What we don't have, because we have not had a lot of high-level picks the last few years, is we do not have the level of quality depth that the teams we're playing have. So when someone is out, it's a pretty big drop-off. So you do the MJ conversation, you do the Denzel conversation, DeJuan's having to come in and out. When that happens, when JOK can't play, when Jordan Hicks goes away, all of a sudden you are looking at folks who are having to be thrust in. By the way, in week 2 of a 17-game NFL season, these are already getting thrust in. You do not have the quality depth that these other teams you're playing have. You have a handful of players who can play and start and be stars anywhere in the league, but you do not have it. And that's how you end up with this roster. We talked about this in camp that has so many rookies on it, so many undrafted players on it. That's how you are reliant. I mean, if we're going to have success here in the next 6 to 8 weeks trying to find our footing here. My God, the Packers come in here on Sunday. If you're going to do that, Quinshaw Judkins is going to have to be a dude. Isaiah Bond's got to be a dude. Fannon's got to be a dude. These are rookies. Mason Graham has to continue to be a dude. He had a couple of moments. Like, you need those rookies to be – they got to play out over their skis early on in their careers.
Yeah.
If you're going to try to get wins here. So this was a tough needle to thread anyway. It's made exponentially tougher when you cannot play clean in the kick game and when you don't play clean offensively with turnovers. No. You don't have the margin for error other teams have.
You don't. And I'm just doing – this is just a quick little scribble exercise because you're saying it's the guys that, that we just played against.
Yeah.
So the Ravens, for example, this is on their defense. Their defense is comprised of 7 first-round picks, 4 second-round picks, 4 third-round picks, 3 fourth-round picks, and then the rest is other. So that's 11, 15. That's 18. 18 that are first through fourth rounds, 11 that are first or second rounds, 15 first, second, or third rounders on defense, just on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
If you were to do that same exercise on our football team, and this is including guys you've drafted, guys that are acquired, all of it.
Yep.
We don't have that same level of depth. So we've got, let's see, just on the defensive line, you've got 2, 3, 4. You've got Miles is a first-round pick. Mason Graham's a first-round pick. Malik Collins is a third-round pick. Alex Wright is a third-round pick. McGuire's a fourth-round pick. Tryon Shank is a first-round pick. And you've got Mike Hall, who is a second-round pick, third-round pick. So up front, pretty good.
That's the best unit on the team.
That's the best part of the team. So
like,
up front,
sometimes it's not that hard.
Up front,
folks.
you've got 3 1s, a 2, 3 3s, and a 4. So that's 8 guys in your front that were premium type picks. All right, your second level, you've got 1 first-round pick, which is Devin Bush, a second-round pick in Carson Schlesinger, and a third-round pick in Jerome Baker. And then on the back end, you've got a first-round pick in Greg Newsome, a first-round pick in Denzel Ward, and then you have a second-round pick in Grant Delpit. That's it. That's the list. That's the list.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Rayshawn Jenkins is a fourth-round pick. So add it up. So they were at 7 1s. We're at 6 1s. So 7 and 6, not too dissimilar. They're at 4 2s. We're at 3 2s. So now we're 9 to 11. We're at 4 4, boom, boom. And then we're less at 2. And then we're much more in the 5, 6, 7. And then undrafteds. That's the other thing. Our corner room after Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome right now, who are first-round picks, is a 5th-rounder, a 7th-rounder, and 2 undrafted free agents.
Right.
And one of those guys has to start constantly. Conversely, the secondary of the Ravens, just in the cornerback room, goes first round, second round, fourth round.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's a difficult situation to deal with and overcome if you are the Cleveland Browns when you want to play a certain style of defense. And so we're saying at the beginning, from a defensive perspective, you shut down their ground game. Incredible job against Derrick Henry. We talked about that. Jason Tarver, his guys were awesome. Devin Bush is playing like a first-round pick right now. He's playing great football for you. Swesinger's playing well. Your line is excellent. Greg and Denzel are playing well. Grant Delpit had another good game. But when you run out of the horses, it becomes very difficult to continue to play the way that you want to play. And so we saw that. I mean, they went right as soon as Denzel went out for cramps, right at Cam Mitchell. Yeah. Touchdown. 4 touchdowns through the air, all of them in man coverage, 3 of them on Cam, 1 on Miles Harden. It does. That makes it a tougher situation to deal with. And look, the Ravens are an excellent football team. You had your chances. You had to jump on them in the first half when your defense was completely stifling them. But then special teams, Gerard always talks about complementary football.
Mm-hmm.
Defense forces a 3 and out. Special teams blocks a punt. Offense converts that good field position into a touchdown. That's what good teams do.
Yeah.
And right now, we're not a good team. And the things that have plagued us, turnovers, special teams, dropped passes, they've plagued us now for a few years in a row.
Yeah.
And the turnover thing is becoming, it's 3 years in a row where we give the football away way too much. And 2 years in a row where we don't take it away.
Yeah, I can't verify this is true. It's on social, so it's 20% of the time it's right, 60% of the time.
Throw it at me and I'll tell you.
But it seemed like it was 9 straight games where we lost the turnover battle. Dating back to last year, it would seem to make sense.
Yeah.
Where that you just can't win that way. It just doesn't work. And so
hold on.
we had to play
verify it for you.
In order for this team to get wins, we were going to have to play what Gerard just says, complementary football. You're going to have to be clean in the turnover game. You got to take care of the ball. And that's what they were building this team to be. I mean, that's what they were when they acquired Kenny Pickett. Keep it in front of you. Take the air out of the ball. 2 draft-picked running backs. Let's run it. Let's try to be successful. This is not – even if everything went according to plan, you are not the Ravens. Like, you don't have that. That's we all knew that. I mean, you all saw what the over-unders and stuff were at the start of this season. But the plan for how to be successful, that's not being executed either.
All right, so
that's the thing that's so frustrating and I think that's why when that Sunday game last week here against the Bengals goes in the books, you went, that's the one to get. That's the one where you did everything right except for those 6 things, and they cost you a win that you needed because you knew going to Baltimore was going to be brutal. And you played great in the first half.
So we have lost a turnover battle in 9 straight games. That is verified. That is true. The last time we won the turnover battle was in New Orleans. We won it 2-0 and lost 35-14. We scored 14 points that game when we put up 443 yards of offense. We have won the turnover battle from the start of the 2024 season till now. We have won the turnover battle twice. We lost those games bigly to the Commanders and the New Orleans Saints twice. We have lost the turnover battle. We said 9 straight. We said 12 out of the
19.
last 13.
12
out of 13. And we lost it one more time beyond that. So we've lost the turnover battle 13 times in the last 19 games. We have turned the football over 2 or more times in 9 straight games. We have turned the football over 2 or more times 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of the last 19 games. In our last 9 games, dating back to this run you're talking about, 6, 9, 15, 18, 20. We have turned the ball over 26 times in the last 9 games. 26 times. We have taken the football away 7 times.
That ain't it. That's never going to be it. 26 to 9.
26 to 9.
7.
Now, it should be no surprise that our record in this stretch is 1. Well, we're going back to the start of last year. We're 3 now and 16. It's kind of unbelievable. I mean,
and sometimes it is that simple. The Buffalo Bills have won the turnover battle in 24 straight games. Like sometimes there's a reason. Cliches become cliche for a reason.
Yeah, because there's some truth to them.
Yeah, and you can't turn the ball over and be successful. You can't. And that is even perhaps worse than I thought.
I've got something else that's not great. We have not scored more than 16 points in a game since Monday night in Denver. That is 7 straight games.
We've not scored 20?
We've scored 32 in that Monday night loss to Denver.
Jameis, yeah.
We lost to the Steelers 27-14. We lost to the Chiefs 21-7. We lost to the Bengals 24-6. We lost to the Dolphins 20-3. We lost to the Ravens 35-10 at the end of last year. And then so far we've lost 17-16 and 41-10.
Yeah.
So we have not scored more than 16 points in 7 games.
Yeah.
We've turned it over 26 times in the last 9 games with at least 2 giveaways in every single one of those games. We've at least turned the ball over twice in 9 straight games. 5 of them, we've turned it over 3 or more times. You can't win that way.
Can't, no.
But that's got to be cleaned up, and I think it goes back to your point, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, it was always Joe Flacco. It wasn't. It was Kenny Pickett because one of the things that they thought he would do was help on that front, and that injury I think has had some ripples that we are seeing in terms of the style that we want. Now, Joe Flacco, that run he had here was unbelievable, and you can still see him. He throws the ball beautiful. He was the best quarterback here that was able to be on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not all on Joe Flacco. The drops are not on Joe Flacco.
No.
Special teams not on Joe Flacco. The protection issues we've had are not on Joe Flacco. Our inability to run the football is not on Joe Flacco.
Mm-mm.
It's a tough situation for any quarterback right now. We've just got to find a way, man, to do a better job. And I wouldn't put either of the 2 turnovers in week 1 on Joe Flacco. Could the ball's been a little bit more accurate? Sure, but they hit people who are literally you are paid to catch the football.
Yep.
And it's in both of your hands. And we got a little bit lucky, we'll be honest, in Baltimore that touchdown. There's something magic. There's a magic vortex in that spot on that field because that's exactly where Gary Barnidge caught the ball with his buttocks.
Right.
So, there's something that happens wildly for us there, so we just should run every play to go, into that spot inside the 3-yard line in that right corner of that end zone. But, yeah, this is where You pair what this defense has done with a good offense, we're 2-0.
Yeah.
But and we'll get Toph's take on it later on. But it is natural, I think, at some point for some level of resentment to be born or to.
Well, that's what you got to fight against. Otherwise.
And it's not going to get any easier. It's not getting easier with Green Bay and Detroit the next 2 weeks. This is not any easier. Minnesota in London might be your first respite. We know J.J. McCarthy's now banged up, but
sounds like he's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks. So that London very much in question for him. So.
Carson Wentz, last time we saw him in Washington, they were booing him out of the yard for Tyler Heineke.
That's right. That's right.
Or Taylor Heineke.
Can I interest you in Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning Sunday? Bengals, Vikings.
You can. Right. I'm interested in it. Jake Browning, by the way, might be pretty good.
He's got enough people around him.
He might just be pretty good.
I think he threw. Did he throw 3 picks yesterday, though?
He did throw 3 picks.
Yeah. But he had a big drive when it mattered, and they were smart. He was smart enough to say, hey, you know what I do have, though, is this guy wearing number 1, and he catches most things thrown his way, so let's force-feed him the ball. 16 targets, 14 for 165 for Jamar Chase yesterday for the Bengals as they go to 2-0. But this is the – actually, that's the perfect way to put a ribbon on this conversation we're having with the Ravens right now and our approach for the Ravens. Because – the Bengals won a game where they had almost nothing go right here, and because they won a game yesterday with their backup quarterback, they are somehow 2-0 and can maybe keep head above water until Joe returns in December.
That's a long way to go.
It is. But their schedules, it's not as daunting as it used to be. They got Minnesota in the next couple of weeks. They don't have, it's not as crazy as it was. But that's why when you do all of the big things right, you have to also do the little things right. Yeah. We did all the big things right against Cincinnati, but we didn't do the little things right. The little things became big things, and now that's who we are.
Yep.
And that's really difficult to dig yourself out of. Look, this isn't fun for any of us. I will say that 10 carries, 61, and to your credit, some of that came, towards the end when some of the starters were out for Baltimore. But I did think you saw in Quinshon Judkins, who, by the way, just had, one padded practice?
One padded practice.
So I think you at least saw, okay, when he gets – he will be your starting tailback, and you'll be able to go with it. And
this rookie class is going to be
a great
core for
I think
this
Isaiah Bond is more than what we've seen in 2 weeks.
He is. We got to find a way to get him the football.
Yeah, but I think there's some stuff there. It felt like Mason had some nice plays in this game in the middle on the defensive front. So there are, and Carson's been great throughout. But I think so. There are some things to look forward to, but. Your margin for error was never very big to begin with.
No.
And the recipe for success was clean football, even special teams, and it was a defense that at times could be dominant. But that defense, when Denzel doesn't play a lot of snaps yesterday, with MJ Emerson gone for the year, even that can only withstand so much.
Yes, and that to me is what becomes just – it's what's tough. The margin for error is already so small, but any losses to any of your marquee guys are devastating. At that point, Denzel was dealing with cramps, and I think that is obviously a tough situation. That's a tough road to hoe, you know, because
the drop off there in that room, especially from MJ and Denzel, Greg in the slot, to Greg, and then
which was very good in week 1, though.
No, I understand, but now all of a sudden you're down. Greg was your third outside corner.
Yeah.
Now, yesterday, primarily he was your number one outside corner.
Yeah, and did a fine job against Zay Flowers. Right. It was just
he did a good job against Jamar Chase.
They got a guy named Tez Walker who was a 4th-round pick who now has 3 catches in his career. All 3 have been touchdowns. He had 1 catch as a rookie. It was a touchdown, and he didn't have a catch last week.
Well, because they saw and they said, let's go there.
Do that.
Yeah. Todd's not dumb.
He is not. Actually, he was one of our favorites when he was here.
Yeah, we loved him.
I actually got a chance to catch up with him before the game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and he's great. And he's like, I was just saying that nobody roots harder for you to get a head coaching job probably than than us, so you can get away from these Ravens. And he got a good chuckle out of that. He's like, listen, we have really good players. That makes it really easy.
Yes, he does.
I said that's true.
That's true.
But you also have elevated the play of those really good players.
A lot of credit to John for hiring him to do that job, and then a ton of credit for Lamar for
Buying
continuing to buy in and improve. There's a stretch that I saw over like the last season and a half of like 5,000 yards, 57 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 70% completions. Like it might be the best stretch of quarterback we've ever seen.
I know he was 41-4 last year, and he started this season off already with 6-0.
Yeah.
So he's now at minimum 47-4.
Yeah.
So maybe if there was a 3,
there's something
at
the beginning of the
20
season
of
before
23.
It's almost 60 touchdowns, 5,000 some yards, 70%, 3 interceptions. Like,
Yeah.
no one's ever played quarterback this well.
Oh, and he's run for
1,000, 1,200 yards
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah, no, it's the ultimate weapon,
it's insane. And by the way, he missed a couple in this game,
dude.
He missed a few throws in this game,
Yes, he did.
and he was still.
I don't remember what I set for the over-unders for the rush game with Henry and Lamar, but the idea that like you were going to hold them to that,
To 36 after they'd rushed for 239 the week before.
and that used to be the thing where, well, you take that away, can they do it this way? Well, now they can.
I know somebody who believed in our run defense, and I know somebody who didn't.
Did you rebound? Did you have a little rebound?
I think so.
Did you? I'll look.
That's for later in the week.
Yeah,
Later
I
in
think
the
so.
week.
I know 2 of them I did. I don't know about.
We got back?
Yeah.
All right. I know the scores didn't go well. I know that.
Listen, listen.
It was
tough.
a week.
This is a tough week. My
National
fantasy
Football
teams
League.
were all like Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas is
Doesn't
like
wanna
I don't
catch the
want
ball.
to. I don't even want to catch the ball anymore.
It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it
Shador
was.
walking by. Here we go.
There he goes.
Yeah, he did. What's up with that? I'm sure you got to see some of that game. I didn't. I just got to see
I
the
didn't.
post game.
So
and
it was only on. I had the 3 TVs. So
All
I
right,
had
we
our
talked about
game,
this
and then
last
I
night,
had
yeah.
Steelers. Seahawks was on Fox here locally, and then the Red Zone would pipe it in. So like even on the Red Zone, I didn't notice the Burrow injury for a while because I was just watching on Red Zone. So I was watching our 2 games, and I didn't see it all. But yeah, no, it's results oriented, and as we're going to get into, and we'll get into this a little bit later, today was a MASH unit. I mean, it's a red Monday in terms of injuries in the National Football League.
Yep.
Marquee players out in some instances, maybe for the season or extended times. All pros, Pro Bowlers. Sunday was a brutal day around the league. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. If a car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused your injury, call their injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Oak's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll head to the podium coming up next. Coach Stefanski's press conference with the local beat reporters coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, we got something special here. Play the Ohio Lottery's new $5 Win Big scratch off for a chance to win $100,000. If you don't win, just scan that ticket for a second chance to win big. You can enter the Big Game Second Chance promotion to win great pro football prizes, including Cleveland game tickets, even tickets to the biggest football game of the year. If football is your passion, Win Big is your game. Only from the Ohio Lottery. Lottery players subject to Ohio laws and commissions regulations. Play responsibly. Go to your favorite Ohio Lottery retailer today. Get your hands on a new $5 scratch off. It's called Win Big. You can win $100,000. If you don't, you can enter to win game tickets and other prizes. Get yours today at your favorite Ohio Lottery retailer. And remember, play responsibly. And this season, check the Browns social channels daily to play our digital scratch-off game for your chance to win club seats and other great prizes presented by the Ohio Lottery, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Now time to head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats, purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is head coach Kevin Stefanski.
Only real update is
Yes, sir.
Greg Carter is in concussion protocol. Everybody else will really be day-to-day, learn more throughout the week. Obviously frustrating result in that game. Clearly didn't play well enough on offense, defense, or special teams. Didn't coach well enough when you get that result. But feel very similar to how I felt walking off the field. Frustrated, but understand that we have to find a way to win, and certainly have to find a way to play complementary ball in these ball games. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Hey, Kevin, you don't usually see guys miss as much time as Denzel did with cramps. Was he sick or anything else going on there?
No, just cramping.
Okay. And do you expect he'll be okay this week?
Hope so, yes.
And then Miles mentioned he got rolled up into. Do you think he's okay?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are dealing with some things, Scott, but we'll just see how they do throughout the week.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, Kevin, can you maybe revisit the quarterback situation a little bit and talk about why you feel it's important to stick with Joe, even after a game where he had some things that didn't go his way? I know you guys have a tough stretch coming up, but what are some of your thoughts on why this is the right way to go?
Yeah, Mary Kay, we didn't play well enough on offense, and we didn't coach well enough on offense, and it's never going to be about one person. Joe knows there's plays that he can be better, and it obviously starts with protecting the ball in this game, and he understands that, and that's our focus moving forward.
Kevin, looking at it from the outside, it seems there's a lot wrong with the offense. So if that is the case, how do you fix that in such a short time you have here?
Well, I think we're 2 games in to this season. We are definitely going to be playing better as a team as this season goes on, and certainly the goal is to always get better as the calendar turns. So that's what we'll focus on. Obviously, there's things that we know we need to do better, not scoring enough points in the first 2 games, and that's a combination of things. It's run game, it's pass game, it's what we're asking the guys to do. So we'll make sure that we put a plan together to let these guys have success versus Green Bay.
Now, I know it takes all 11 guys, but how would you assess the way the offensive line has played these first 2 games? Yeah,
hard to evaluate the whole offensive line in the last 2 games, Jeff. I just tell you, yesterday there were some good moments, and then there were definitely things that we can clean up.
Kevin, defensively, you guys lead the league in yards allowed, and there's been strong efforts in the first 2 games. Obviously, as the game went on yesterday, not what they wanted to do, but for your defense, how important is it to clean things up offensively, clean things up on special teams to allow them to continue their success and not maybe pile things on for them?
Well, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Cam, in the form of playing complementary ball. And if, making an offense drive the football versus our defense, as opposed to giving them good field position, whether via a special teams play or a turnover, those type of things. So that's where we need to, as a team, understand how important it is to complement each other.
When you're looking for that complementary football, Miles was on the side, huddled up with some guys, being that leader on that side of the ball. Do you need that? Do you lean on that heavily to ensure that, they have that patience as you guys work to get that complementary football going? Yeah,
listen, it's a team game. It's the best team game there is, and we understand that it's never about one person. It's never about one side of the ball. We'll continue to play this that way.
All right, Kevin, a question about two rookies. The first one is Judkins. Do you feel comfortable now giving him a regular full load as the feature back starting with this game?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job with what we asked him to do yesterday, Tony. Obviously, get him in here, get a lift, get treatment, see how his body's feeling. But I think he certainly is capable of doing more, and we'll treat it just like we did last week, and in that we'll see how he comes through the week and make those type of decisions as the week goes on.
The other question is about Gabriel. Are you open to using him in a game just to see how it affects the offense with his quick release and quick processing?
Say one more time.
Not necessarily as a starter immediately, but are you open to getting Gabriel some snaps in a game?
Yeah, that's really not our focus. Yesterday, you understand that how the game was and where we were in the game, but that's really not our focus.
Hey, Kevin, just after reviewing the blocked punt, what went wrong on that play? And just, I mean, how much of a turning point was that you guys can't afford?
Yeah, obviously, we can't allow that to happen. Not going to get in the specifics of the play, but we just need to be better in protection. That's a big part of this game. Going back to playing complementary football you talk about field position, and we need to do our job really in all areas, but we should never allow that.
And then just in respect to the return game with DeAndre and in the protocol now, I guess, how did you think Isaiah did? I mean, he looked maybe a little uncomfortable back there at times, but how much have you guys worked with him on that? I know he hasn't been here long, obviously.
Sure. He's gotten, as a backup returner, you get a lot of reps in practice to get ready. Obviously, we lost some yardage there on some balls that we'd like to field. There were some balls that would have been very difficult to get to and then had some good bounces for them. So, again, those are hidden yardage plays that we need to get the ball back with the maximum amount of yards helped towards our offense.
Yeah, Kevin, obviously you couldn't control having Denzel out of this game, but in terms of Cam and Miles, is there anything that you can do to maybe not always have them in such one-on-one situations if they're overmatched in those type of things? Or is it too late in the middle of a game to try to adjust to something like that?
Well, I give, Coach Schwartz and the defensive staff do a great job of making adjustments throughout the game. And those adjustments come, Mary Kay, whether it's via scheme, sometimes via personnel, based on what you're seeing from the other team. So we'll always look to make those type of adjustments as necessary, but we also trust our guys to play our scheme.
Kevin, given Myles Garrett's frustration last year, which led to him asking for a trade, and given his frustration after yesterday's game, how concerned are you about keeping Myles and other veterans on board with the program as this losing streak, which is now 8, continues?
Yeah, I'm not really focused on last season, Tony. We obviously have come up short in these first 2 ball games, and we'll just keep our head down and get back to work. That's really what we'll do.
All right, there you go, Coach Stefanski from the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats, purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Also, head to Vivid Seats to purchase those premium terrace experience packages. Packages include game ticket, pregame field pass, parking, all-inclusive food and beverage, and a $50 Browns Shop gift card. Visit vividseats.com/Browns today for more on that. We'll go around the league, and there's a lot to get to, all sorts of massive injuries around the league, including the biggest one of the weekend in our own division. We'll get to all of that and get you up to speed on everything around the National Football League coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom. See, I just made one word there. Fundum. With the Bally Bet Sportsbook app, download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets when you place your first wager of 10 or more. Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. The news of the day in the National Football League happened yesterday. Joe Burrow will miss 3 months. He's going to need surgery to repair his grade 3 turf toe injury. It wasn't anything that anybody thought in the moment yesterday. I was thinking back to the game when the injury happened, but then now that I've thought about it more, as Joe was walking off the field, he had to stop like right before the tunnel and needed guys to come help him get off the field. And it was at that point that you went, oh.
They didn't have a vehicle to
No, of course not.
him.
I think he wanted to walk off because initially when it happened, I
heard they don't have a cart down there.
They might not. Talking to guys in the press box, they were thinking was, okay, first thing was, oh, my God, it's an Achilles. Well, it wasn't an Achilles because he could move his foot. And then it was like, oh, my God, is it an ACL? So I think, Burrow was hoping to walk off, that it wasn't that serious. But, in fact, it is quite serious as he'll miss 3 months with a grade 3 turf toe injury that will require surgery. They will go with Jake Browning, who had a nice drive at the end of the game that ended up being the game winner. He was also pretty smart in that he threw it to Jamar Chase a lot. 16 targets for Chase. He caught 14 of those targets. They're at Minnesota this week. We'll get to them in just a second because even if that quarterback situation would have stayed the same, that's not quite as daunting as it looked initially on the schedule because they are really in the struggle bus offensively with the quarterback. If Burrow misses the rest of the season, it will be the third time in 6 seasons that he has lost a season to injury. They are optimistic that he'll come back. They were really hopeful that it'll be – they have a stretch late November, early December where they go Baltimore at Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore in a three games, that nice. 3-game stretch. And they're hopeful that he can be back by there. Knowing Joe, I'm sure he'll get back as soon as he can, but now it's surgery. Just hate to see it for the league.
It's a minimum of 3 months.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. You hate it for the league.
Yeah, because this is
it's
a quarterback league. And by the way, so maybe I'm wrong about this, and feel free to correct. But when's the last time? So Purdy and Burrow are now both out with turf toe. And turf toe, by the way, they need to get a better name for it because it is a significant injury. Turf toe sounds like, I turfed my toe. That's not a big deal. No, it's a very big deal. He's having to have surgery, and if you talk to a lot of people, when it gets that bad, they say the toe will never be the same.
Yeah, and it's it does need a new name because it makes it seem like you stubbed your toe.
Yeah.
And that's not. You can't really do anything with it, and as evidenced by Joe yesterday trying to walk off the field and he had to stop and someone helped him off the field to be able to get him off the field. But yeah, it is a massively significant injury, and it is something that and Purdy's happened up in Seattle, right? That's where his went, and Burrow obviously was on turf down in Cincinnati. And if you're outdoors and you can, I mean, heck, we can grow grass indoors now. Like, find a way. It's just not worth it.
So he had a grade 3 severe sprain involving a complete tear of the plantar complex, which are the ligaments and structures supporting the big toe joint. It is characterized by severe pain, significant swelling and bruising, limited or no ability to move. You might not even be able to put weight on it. It says grade 3, slow process, often 10 to 16 weeks or longer. Full recovery can take up to a year. Sometimes there isn't full recovery. It is, so it's basically almost like, is your toe almost dislocate? I mean, it seems like a very, very painful thing.
Yeah, and to have
you can't move your big toe, and your big toe is a kind of important toe.
It's a massive toe. You want to take a pinky? Fine, take all the pinkies you want. Take the
I don't
second
even
guy.
My pinky toes.
I don't know who the other.
I doesn't even missing a knuckle. I don't know what's happening.
The pinky toe is. I mean, that's you can get your toe anytime you want.
Like if I wear slides, it looks like I'm a 4-toed man. My pinky toe is so much smaller than the rest of them.
He's morphed in there.
It's
hardly anything left of him.
This is gone. I don't even know.
Poor guy used to maybe have an impact. Now he doesn't. We've been sticking him in shoes all these days. But a massive injury for them. So you had Purdy. Folks, we're 2 weeks in. Purdy out extended weeks. Burrow out months, 3 months. And now news today that J.J. McCarthy of the Minnesota Vikings, he's been ruled out for Sunday's game versus the Bengals with an ankle injury, but it's not just that. He's actually out now it looks like 2 to 4 weeks.
High ankle.
With a high ankle sprain. So he's now out for 2 to 4 weeks on that front, and that would very likely that take him out of us.
Hold on. Think about this. after Sunday's tilt with the Bengals, they go to Ireland and then to London.
Oh, there you go. That's right. They're over there for 2 weeks
So
back to back.
he may not go
He might not
on
even
any
go.
of that. You might just shut him down until you get home.
Yeah, so it'll be Carson Wentz this week for them.
I mean, on the good side, I would
I'm
imagine
great.
they would
Sign me
say they see us on the schedule. They're probably like, okay, let's just get him healthy. Which
Yeah.
hopefully we can take advantage of.
And
say,
he's been a big struggle bus first 2
Anyway.
weeks. He had a great fourth quarter in Chicago.
And he
but
had some real nice throws yesterday, but then
had some
just dogs. By the way, I saw the clip of some of the Mahomes misses.
So I was watching live when he missed the one on the. Now he
Other guys, nobody else is on the
There's
field.
nobody within 20 yards.
They're
of
not
him.
on the field.
Yeah.
He could have thrown it so he stopped completely. He would have scored.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just threw it out of bounds, kind of. Yeah. They've got some big issues there. And we'll hit all of this in one thought, but just some of the major injuries that are happening at the quarterback position. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels dealing with a knee sprain in Washington, so something to monitor there as well. Justin Fields with the Jets is in concussion protocol. A massive injury to what has already been a brutal start to the Ben Johnson era in Chicago. Jalen Johnson, Pro Bowl, All-Pro corner. He's out for the season with a groin injury. He actually will need surgery on that. So you're missing now maybe your best defensive player in Chicago, and they're off to an 0-2 start and got body bagged by Detroit yesterday.
That one felt very, very personal. Here's the thing that I don't understand. Ben Johnson is your coach, right?
Yeah.
So Ben Johnson, you say, come on down, you're the coach. So you'd imagine, hey, who do you want? Who's going to really help kind of unlock this offense for you? Well, how about in the first round, we're going to draft Colston Loveland.
There you go.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Second
out
round,
of Michigan, little tight end.
Second round, we're going to get Luther Burden.
Yep.
Luther Burden has played 20% of the snaps so far.
Yeah.
That's not a lot. Colston Loveland, who was taken in the first round, has played 50% of the snaps and has 3 targets on the season. Why'd you draft him?
Yeah.
We got to get Olamide Zaccheaus and Cole Kmet going? I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
What are we doing?
I didn't see their game yesterday other than Red Zone, and it was on just as touchdowns were raining in from the Detroit side of things. So I didn't see exactly what happened there.
So I guess he missed all of the preseason. He missed last week, came back this week, and I guess now it might actually be worse and require surgery.
With Loveland? Or with
Johnson.
Johnson.
Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. You're good. No, I thought Jalen Johnson was done. Or is there a new update? I thought he was done for the year from Schefter.
I did not see that.
Okay, I think that he was done. I thought
so
Johnson was done from the year. Maybe Schultz had it. Maybe I saw Jordan Schultz is where
I was going to say
first.
I did not see that from Schefter.
Yeah, it could have been Jordan Schultz had that. So, but either there's a lot going on the injury side of things. And to give you an idea just how crazy this league is, the Indianapolis Colts, okay, who opened this season with who'd they have in week 1? Why am I blanking on it?
They blew out
Miami. So they got Miami week 1 on the turf. Oh, that's right, because I thought Tua turf, he's healthy, Dolphins will be fine.
Yep.
Not a good read out of me. So you have that one, and then you had Denver in there over the weekend. That was crazy, the finish to that, and I'll get to that.
It
was crazy. It
outrageous.
Really was. Yeah. The Colts, though, are the first team in the Super Bowl era not to punt in either of their first 2 games.
Now
Danny
they went
Dimes
for it
is
on
their
fourth
quarterback.
down and
Yeah.
didn't get it.
Right,
Yes.
but they have not punted.
Correct.
And in week 1 against Miami, they scored on every possession. And they scored some points yesterday. Now, they lost the game and then won the game because there was a penalty on every play to close that game between the Colts and the Broncos. Literally, every play in the last minute and a half was a penalty. They kick a field goal, long one, 60 yards, miss it, but they give Denver, for using a leverage play to try and block it, gets them 15 yards.
Yep,
but,
which allows them to move up
and kick the game winner.
Yeah.
By the way, another stunning stat from that game yesterday: the Colts did not have a sack.
No, that's true. Yeah, they did not.
Yeah,
that's not even
crazy.
the craziest special teams thing of the day. That belongs to Dallas, where Brandon Aubrey, the Giants go bombs over Baghdad, Russ Wilson to Malik Neighbors to win the game. Somehow Dallas gets barely across midfield. Brandon Aubrey
64.
hits a 64-yard field goal that's good from 90. I mean, it ain't close. I mean, it's middle of the upright, bombed it. from
Oh, yeah.
64 to win it or to tie it. Then they won it in overtime.
Yeah.
Hold on. That actually might also. That is the craziest positive special teams
Yeah.
thing that happened. Did you see what happened in Pittsburgh?
I did. Which part?
When Caleb Johnson just thought he
yes.
could let the ball run into the end zone, and the Seahawks
This
just
is
went
what
down
happens
and
when
caught
you're-
it and
it's-
got a touchdown?
In college
Just fell
football,
out.
that goes in there and it's done and it's dead and that's it.
If
and
he's the returner, he's
got to know that.
Yeah.
And they have a legendary special teams coach there. That's a massive thing because they're down 3 when that happens.
Yeah, it's 17-14.
It's 17-14 when that
They're about to get the
happens.
ball
They
back.
just
Fourth
kicked a
quarter.
field goal in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden it goes 17-14, 24-14.
because they recovered
Because
a
they
kickoff
recovered a
in the end zone.
kickoff in the end zone.
Yeah.
By a yard. Not even, by 6
People,
inches.
they have to be going nuts.
Yeah, it was a wild day in the NFL. Absolutely wild day on the NFL. Tomorrow we'll go through one thought around the league.
I really think, and I thought I read somewhere that did the league say anything about the Denver-Indianapolis game?
Not that I saw.
I
haven't seen anything on that.
If it did, it came down yesterday.
It just was nonsense. So, it's a 60-yard kick.
First of all, no reason to do any leverage. There's
Sure.
absolutely none.
No.
He's either going to make it or he's not. You're trying to block it because it's going to be a low trajectory. But second of all, it didn't look.
It wasn't crazy, I didn't think.
It didn't seem like it should do any. It didn't have any impact on anything.
On you're right. It had no impact on the play whatsoever. No, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
By the way, there were some. We'll take our lumps when it comes to scores, but that one, Arizona, there were some weird things that happened at the end of the Arizona game that kept them from just all they need to score is 3 more points.
They were blowing them out. That score.
There were
is
a
not
lot. There
even
were a few things
ridiculous.
in the scores that were odd
It was like
yesterday.
20-something to 9.
Yeah.
It was like, what is going on?
27-22 was the final.
What is happening here?
Yeah.
And the amount of in that world, the hook, whew,
Yeah, they're quite good.
there's a lot going on that side of things. A lot. All right, we'll visit with Harold Fannon Jr.'s press conference. You'll hear that from earlier today, the rookie out of Bowling Green, who's been great through the first 2 weeks. That's coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for your Cleveland Browns. They'll tackle any size office at 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Time to head to the podium presented by Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats, purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is tight end Harold Fannon Jr.'s press conference from earlier today.
Just wondering, with Kevin's
You're down over 5 minutes.
after the game yesterday, that he's sticking with Joe Flacco. Just wondering, what are your thoughts on that, and why do you feel like that'll be good for you guys to have that continuity moving forward and try to build on what you've done so far?
I mean, first off, the quarterback, that's not my decision. But I mean, obviously through camp, Joe, he's done a good job, and I believe in him. The coach believe in him, so keep believing in him.
And what makes you confident that you guys as an offense are going to become more cohesive and be able to score more points and kind of ratchet it up some?
Probably just things we put on tape. We see, some good things, some bad things, and, obviously just, turn those good things into great things. And, we see the opportunities we have, and I feel like, it's going to definitely start clicking more often.
Hey, Harold, I guess just broadly, how do you feel 2 games into your NFL career now, and how do you feel like you're acclimating?
Yeah. I mean, I feel good. I trust the coaches the way they, use me out there, with the opportunities I get. And, I feel like everything's going smooth, for me just personally. But, that's really it.
And what about that play yesterday that, they had to review it and you did get the completion on it? Did you always think it was going to go your way before the review came down? Just talk me through that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know what they was looking at. I mean, I knew I caught it. I was thinking maybe they was checking if it was a fumble or something. But, yeah, I mean, I already knew I caught it, so it was really nothing.
Harold, you said things are going to start clicking. What evidence do you have that that's going to happen?
I mean, we watch the tape, it's just one little thing we need to fix. And, we're just going to go back to practice, just keep working hard to make it happen on Sundays.
Really just one little thing? It's really that close? Because from the outside, it does not look that way.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it could be like that. It could be hard to see.
Hey, Harold, your 12 catches through 2 games is the most for a Browns player in his first 2 games. I think it's second all time for a tight end in the NFL. What do you think when you hear those kind of stats?
I think I'm just blessed, just grateful. I mean, I don't really think about my stats or anything like that. My main focus is just try to go out there and be the best player and teammate I can.
And then, you got another challenge this week with the Packers and Micah Parsons. What do you think about them? I mean, they're 2-0. Everybody's talking about them as a Super Bowl contender.
We got our work ahead of us. Just try to keep that same mentality we had at the beginning of the year. Just keep practicing hard and keep playing hard.
Harold, I know obviously as an offense, one of the most important things is just moving the chains, getting plays where you can get them. But as you guys are trying to ramp things up, clean things up, and be more cohesive as an offense, how important do you think those more explosive plays can be, those deep shots, things that we haven't really seen a lot of in these first 2 games?
Yeah, them is like a big momentum switch. I feel like, I don't know, maybe we do need to take more of those type of shots or, get more explosive plays. I feel though that, like I said before, like we're this close and, Joe's going to do a good job of, whatever it may be, taking those shots and things like that. But I mean, it's going to come. It's going to come. Just trusting the process is definitely going to come.
And kind of on the flip of that, in the run game, I know that's another thing you guys are trying to get going. Quinshon back in the mix, maybe getting some more touches as the weeks go on. But for you as a tight end, being involved in the blocking aspect of the run game, where's your mindset of trying to get that operating as well?
I mean, my mindset is just, be a team player, do whatever it takes. And that's same with the guys. When they're out there, they're just doing whatever it takes to win and just being team players.
Hey, Harold, Tillman's touchdown on the deflection, was that pass intended for you?
I don't think so at all. I feel like if it was for me, he would have threw it up higher.
Okay. And it seemed like you guys were close to each other. Were you on the same communication there, or was something off on that play?
Uh, I feel like maybe I took a little bit too long on my route, but Tillman, he was in the right place.
Yeah, just wondering, what did you think about that catch? And how cool was it that he kind of got what happened, the previous week a couple times for the other team. So wondering what you thought about it. And then after that, if you don't mind, just talking about Quinshawn and what you think he can provide to you guys as an offense.
When it happened, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what was going on. I was excited just to see him, holding the ball, and he was in the end zone. And Quinshawn, he's going to be a great player for us, as you can see. Just by the opportunities he's got, he's doing really well. I'm happy he's back in the building.
All right, there you go from Harold Fannon Jr. Coming up next, your great clip of the game, and a couple of Monday night scores to get to you. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Be inches away from your favorite players. They take on the big opponents this season. Field seats, Huntington Bank Field, put you close and personal with the thrill of the game. Limited quantities are available, so get them soon before they're gone. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/field seats to secure your spot now. Time now for your great clips. It's going to be great. Call of the game. Here's Miles versus Lamar.
3rd and goal on the 6. Lamar Jackson pressured. He is sacked. Myles Garrett. And it's 4th down.
Second game with 2 sacks for Myles Garrett, 3.5 total on the season. And what a stand by this defense. You think it's a touchdown. The Ravens are on the sideline. It's Celebration City. The refs say not so fast, my friends. Just like the great Lee Corso down at the 1. What a stand right there.
College football Nate.
College football Nate's everywhere.
He's ready to go.
Everything. Yeah.
He's ready to go.
Not so fast, my friends.
Not so fast. I like that.
By the way, what a goal line stand. That's it. We didn't even get to the
I know.
unbelievable
It's
goal
tomorrow,
line stand.
buddy.
It's
the film study.
Film study tomorrow.
The film breakdown.
Break it all down. We've got scores tonight. A
Double
doubleheader.
header. 7 and 10.
I wish this was 6 and 9, but
Be nice.
yeah, I won't see any. You're not going to see that. The Chargers Raiders 10 o'clock. Come on.
No, not at all.
No
I'd
chance.
like to.
No chance.
Not at
No
all.
chance.
What do we have?
I wish they were inverted
Yes.
because I'm more interested in Chargers Raiders than
I like
Bucks
Texans.
Texans.
Bucks Texans. It's a really good
I want to
game.
see Herbert play in that.
First
offense a little
one,
more.
we go to Houston Texans taking on Tampa Bay. Texans looking for that first win of the year.
Go ahead.
I think the Texans bounce back here. I like the Texans here. Baker got away with some. He had 4 turnover-worthy plays in Week 1. None of them cost them. He's going to be without Tristan Wirfs as well. Give me the Texans in this one. Comfortable. 24-12.
I'm going to go samesies on that one with you. I'm going to follow you on that one as well. Samesies.
Late game, Los Angeles. The Chargers looking to go to 2-0 in Vegas to take on the Raiders. I guess they've got it all cleaned up after that pay-per-view boxing fight Saturday night.
Wait, people were complaining about that. That was like 12:45 Eastern,
so
and they
du- it's
still.
We were at a bar and we left. Like it was 11:15. They're like, "There's another." I'm like, "Nope, no, there's
That's
not."
crazy.
There is bedtime.
Like I get it. Like maybe people hang around, but 12:40 or whatever.
Ridiculous.
That's nuts.
Raiders hosting the Chargers.
I think the Chargers are really good, and I don't think it matters where they play. And I think they might be. Harbaugh can coach it, and this might be them entering the really upper echelon. Bengals down, Chiefs down, Chargers up, Chargers by $1 billion.
Same.
There you go.
All right, there you go. The Joe Thomas half hour of the program is coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. All right, welcome into the Joe Thomas half hour of the program. And quite honestly, the setting with which we find the Hoff would put me in a good mood here on a Monday.
It's spectacular.
Otherwise not been good. The Hoff appears to be in what I would describe for the audience, and if you're watching on the YouTube, you can certainly see he is in what appears to be the perfect hunting lodge ever created by man. It's good to see you, Hoff.
It's good to see you guys. You wouldn't believe how many of the world's problems were solved sitting around this fireplace. Z solved a few of them when he was here for turkey camp at the farm. And that's what we're here to do today. We're here to solve the world's problems, which the Browns' problems are the world's problems on a Monday after what we saw on Sunday. It's what the world needs. We need to solve this. We need to fix this.
How much time do we have?
Well, we got a half hour, so we're gonna have to get right to it. Yeah, we're gonna have to work quickly. Hoff, here's the thing that's been troubling to me watching it, and I'm going to start with the offense because I think that is. Special teams we'll get there. Defensively at this point, they've done all you could ask. I mean, you think about from the second half of the Bengals game through the first half of the Ravens game, the Browns defense gave up 88 yards in 4 quarters. 88 yards to the number one passing offense from 2024, the number one running offense of 2024, to a team, by the way, in the Ravens, for their part, who had 80, who had over 400 yards on 50 plays the week before against a team that many people think is going to go to the Super Bowl, the Buffalo Bills. So defense, you get a pass. And the ironic thing, or not ironic, the sad thing is you hold those teams to 88 yards over 4 quarters, and you don't outscore them.
No.
You do not outscore them. So this goes to the offensive problems right now. When Joe Flacco was here last time, he averaged nearly 8 yards in the air per attempt. This year it's down around 4. Our ability to hit vertical shots with Joe Flacco was excellent last time around. This year it is not happening at all. And teams are playing 2 coverages against us predominantly, Huff. Cover 1, which means your guys got to win. You got to create separation. And they're playing cover 6, which is that 2 high that's designed in many ways to eliminate verticals. It's cover 2 on one side, cover 4 on the other side. We're seeing those coverages at one of the top rates in the NFL across the board. What is going on here, Huff? Why can this offense not get anything going down the field?
Well, if you remember, the conversation that we had at the beginning of the season was, all right, if our defense can get back to number 1 overall form, which they have, which was what we saw a couple years ago when they were able to make the playoffs, when they had Joe Flacco at the helm and he was throwing the ball down the field. But the other component of saying, hey, we can have a successful season, we can have a team we're excited about, we feel good about, if we have that defense that comes back from a couple years ago. But then the other thing was, we said we have to be able to run the ball effectively, because that is the linchpin on offense for us to be able to take those shots down the field, because I think everybody was realistic. We got Jerry Jeudy, who's a good receiver, but we don't have complementary 2s and 3s right now that can get open, that can beat man coverage. And Njoku's doing a great job. Harold Fannon Jr. doing a great job for a rookie, but you don't have those other vertical threats right now that can just get open and beat man coverage. And if you can't run the ball, it's not opening up things in the play action game in the back end, because teams don't respect your run game. They don't have to commit extra defenders into the box. Their safeties are not creeping up on the line of scrimmage to make their run fits. And so nothing works on offense if you're not able to effectively run the football with this iteration of what we want the Browns offense and defense and the Browns team to look like, to have possible success with the talent that we have this season.
Yeah, the reality of the situation is if a team's going to sit in 2 high against you, and the Ravens were about 50-50, which is one of the higher rates to have middle field open in the league nowadays, you have to be able to run them out of those looks. And to your point, we have not been able to do it. The other thing, and the reason that it's more cover 1 than cover 3, says to me that teams don't fear, to the Hoff's point, our weaponry.
No.
And here's the other thing. Isaiah Bond can run. You got to at least give him some shots.
Just air it out, man.
At least throw it. We're not doing that either. So he's basically been out there, and there have been times you can watch tape where he certainly has been open. The ball hasn't gone its way. And, yes, pressure has been an issue, but I thought often yesterday – there were the sack strip fumble, for example, and a couple of the others. He's just holding the ball because there's nowhere to go with the ball, or at least not that he is seeing in the natural progression of things. I think Kurt Warner made a very good point the other day. He's like, people keep showing me these videos where some guy's open here. If you understand the concept and that guy's the 4th read, like just because he's open right away, the quarterback's not taught to look there.
No,
it takes
right.
time to get there, but I'm nervous because the book seems to be out on us. And a lot of people, what they're doing, Hoff, is showing too high initially to get us to either can a play, get to a second one, and then rotating into that middle of the field closed, but we're not taking advantage of that.
Yeah, the big thing is your receivers got to be able to beat one-on-one man coverage, and you got to be able to effectively run the ball. And those are two things we haven't been able to do. And I think Flacco realized, okay, I'm going to lean on my defense, so I'm going to be somewhat risk averse, especially to start the season the way he was in Cincinnati. Didn't make many mistakes, a lot of checkdowns, a lot of short throws. You saw that at the beginning of the Ravens game. But I think he's hit the realization that I'm going to have to start forcing the ball a little bit more if we want to be able to move the ball at all effectively on offense, unless something changes. And you hope that with the addition of Quinshon Judkins coming back and doing a nice job in his very first NFL game, a guy that basically had, a couple practices, no training camp whatsoever, and they just throw him out there and does a serviceable job. And you hope maybe he can become that workhorse back for you. But it's a frightening feeling when you are not able to win in one-on-one, because I've been in some of those situations where we just didn't have the dogs at receiver. And if those guys can't get open, they can commit a lot of extra dudes to the run game because they're not worried about getting the ball thrown over their head. They're not worried about your receivers shaking their cornerbacks one-on-one and making big plays down the field. And then that just compounds your problems in the run game. And to your point about showing cover two and then creeping down to one, like, if you're doing a lot of cans and you're calling two plays in the huddle and it's a 2 high, 1 high check where you can check it, like the easy correction is, okay, every time we can it, they're going to go from a 2 to a 1. Well, now you just fake can it. But if you can't run the ball and you can't throw the ball, where are you going to go? It doesn't really matter what your strategy is as far as on the line of scrimmage trying to fool them and get them into certain coverages, because you're not able to take advantage of it.
Hoff, I think the key word in football at any level is trust. Quarterback has to trust the coach, got to trust his receivers, got to trust his line. Running back's got to trust that the line does its job, and the line has to trust that the running back's going to do what he's going to do. We're 2 games in. Offensively, it's been very rough. Where is the trust breaking down in your vantage point offensively for this team?
Well, I think right now the trust between receiver and quarterback is not there, because receiver's hitting his back foot. Quarterback's hitting his back foot, expecting receiver maybe number 1 or 2 to give him a window to throw the ball into. He's not seeing that. They're either not getting open, or he's moving off it too quickly, or he's just being too risk averse to throw the ball when there's a little crack and a little window. And then I think what happens then is, like I mentioned earlier, like Flacco is starting to realize, okay, we need to do something on offense. We need to start taking some chances. Unfortunately, throughout Flacco's career, some of the problems that he's had was when he did try to take a lot of chances in a game and it turns into a turnover fest, because those interceptions in his career have come in bunches when he feels like he has to put the team on his shoulder and try to make some plays. Now, he's got the arm for it, but if your guys aren't getting open and you don't trust you can throw it into those tight windows, and then you don't trust that they're going to be in the right spots at the right time, and then you're hanging on to the football. Now your O-line doesn't trust you to get rid of the ball on time. Now they're doing things that they're not coached to do because they're thinking, well, shoot, I got to hang on for 4 or 5 seconds, so I need to take risks that I normally wouldn't take to try to keep my guy further from the quarterback than I normally would need to, because I don't know how long he's going to hang on to it. Now the trust is just breaking down all across the board. And I think the thing that you can say is, all right, there's not going to be any receivers that are going to come in here that are all of a sudden going to be getting wide open all the time. Like, that comes in the draft and free agency, and you just don't pick up those guys in the middle of the season. But I think potentially some different concepts maybe for these receivers to try to help them get open, specifically starting with being effective in running the ball. Because if you can run the ball and teams are worried about you running the ball a little bit, you're going to have more opportunities and more windows, more green grass in the secondary, because they have to commit an extra defender down to stop your run game. So I think, to me, there's not easy fixes, right? When your offense looks like this through 2 weeks in the NFL, there's no superheroes going to walk through the door. But what you can do is you can put all of your resources in practice on fixing and working on the run game and trying to figure out, how do we have an effective run game that teams are going to be afraid of? And then you spend all of your effort on that, and maybe the remaining 5%, outside of all, maybe 5%, you're like, all right, how do we figure out a play action game that our receivers like, that Flacco feels comfortable with, that we can get some shots down the field? But it all starts with effectively running the ball.
So that's what we got to do on offense. And I think and a lot of that comes, I think, on the offensive line as well. It's got to create holes for guys in the run game. We're still getting hit, behind the line of scrimmage. I think, unfortunately, far too often. In this one, I mentioned in the first week for our ground game, it was, guys had as many yards after contact basically as they had yards.
Yeah.
And that's a tough situation. In this one, for example, Quinshon Judkins, who did a heck of a job, by the way, 10 carries, 61 yards, 57 yards after contact. 57 yards after contact. That's 5.7 a carry. That is an outrageously elite number. Dylan Sampson had 7 yards after contact. He had 6 yards rushing.
Right.
So this is a team where, when you want to run the ball, you got to give these guys an opportunity to get down the field so that they can get some downhill momentum going.
Absolutely.
What are you seeing from the line? Because that is not what we come to expect from a Cleveland Browns offensive line.
Yeah, and they got veterans out there that should be able to open up holes in the running game. I think it hurts not having Jack Conklin out there. He's a tremendous run blocker, but that doesn't excuse all the mistakes because you still have guys that are veterans that are out there that should be able to effectively run the ball. I mean, one of the things that did hurt, obviously not having Quinshon here puts them on the offensive line and Quinshon on different pages, and the details are just not there in the run game because he just wasn't around. But you're going to have to make up for lost time. It's just the position you're in. You're going to have to figure it out and make it work. But really the thing that I'm seeing from the offensive line is just the details. It's just the tiny little hat placement issues. It's guys just maybe taking a slight misstep to start their angle and how they're hitting the defensive tackle, how they're blocking the linebacker on the certain angle. Like all those little details matter on every play. And that's why the run game, when it works great, it's symphony, it's beauty. It's amazing because it takes all 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, if you throw the fullback in there, to be on the same page, to be blocking perfectly in unison and in tandem with the same hat placements, the running back at the same rhythm, hitting the same landmarks. But you have one guy off and it throws the whole play off. And it's just been too much of that so far. And so they've got to fix that. They've got to figure it out. They've got to make sure that the details are the difference in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice when you get a chance to actually work on this stuff. You're working on your game plan stuff against the defense that you're going to see. So you're looking at, all right, what are the most important things in this play for all of us to understand that if we don't do this, we're not going to have a successful play. And then you got to get full buy-in and full trust from that full unit. And I mean, there's no secrets in football. Like it's practicing with a purpose. It's figuring out the game plan that you like to be able to take advantage of the defense and the little intricacies that maybe they're not very good at, where their weaknesses are. But then you got to go out and execute it during the week and then have confidence and be able to do it on Sundays.
Hoff, how do you change one of the 2 points of emphasis this season were obviously turnovers, and we talk about every week on a Friday, be clean on special teams. Can we just be even? We're not even trying to win special teams. We just want to be even on special teams. We're in a position now, we're in a turnover deficit. Is it 9 straight games going back to last year? We're in a turnover deficit. We can't get special teams right to save our lives. I mean, we're getting punts blocked. God bless Corey for hanging it out and making it work, but it's
and another
every
punt
game.
return this game.
And a punt return. Yeah,
both games.
Yeah, it's too much. So how do you – and I guess this is a bigger issue for the whole team, right? Because the one thing that has been great has been the defense, but they can only do so much. How do you make sure that the things you're talking about, like implementing those things in practice, getting on the same page, getting it fixed, how do you do that when you have what has been kind of a mess here 2 games through?
Yeah, special teams obviously been very disappointing. Bubba Ventrone, former teammate of mine, we all think that he's a very good special teams coach, but unfortunately the results on the field are your resume. And through 2 weeks, you've missed kicks, you've had kicks blocked, you've had turnovers and penalties on special teams. And for a team that wants to win with defense in the run game, you got to be great on special teams. And one thing I learned from Romeo Crennel my first couple years in the NFL that I liked, and I think that works on defense especially and on special teams, is like, hey, here's our game plan. We're going to do these things. If we don't do a good job of it on Thursday, we're just throwing it out of the game plan because there's no sense in trying to go out there and thinking we're going to get it right Friday, Saturday, or Sunday because we won't. So we'll just have a smaller game plan. We're going to cut things way back and we're going to do things that we can execute and that we can do competently. We may not win special teams, but you know what? We're not going to lose it on special teams. And so I think they're going to be going back to the drawing board, one, figuring out, all right, where are the mistakes coming from? Is it one guy here and there? Okay, well, then maybe we're doing too many different concepts. Is it the same guys over and over again? Well, all right, we're going to remove them because typically in special teams, it's your backups that are playing those positions. And maybe we got to find somebody else to play that position because you're not giving us enough on offense or defense to justify putting you out there on special teams and having you make these critical errors that are causing turnovers and huge plays in the game.
Yeah, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a frustrating thing, and you're right. The margin of error for this team, like if this team's going to win games, it has to play clean football. It's not going to be sexy. This is not going to be a sexy brand of football, but that's how this team is going to have to win games. And then to that point, you mentioned, defensively, we talked about how good this defense has been. Miles has been spectacular, but if you're a team, let's say when the Hoff you're playing, we can leave you on an island at left tackle. But when you go out, sometimes you cannot we can't keep acting like you're at left tackle. And I thought yesterday in the game, it was very tough. Once we're already without MJ Emerson, then Denzel's out with cramps, and we're playing man coverage. And it was like, and I feel bad for the kid, but it was like the Ravens, Todd Monken was like, oh, Cam Mitchell's in the game. First play he's in the game, right at him, touchdown. They go at him, 3 different touchdowns at him. Miles Harden, touchdown at him. And we're playing, I was looking up in 2023 when we were the number 1 defense, we did play a ton of man. That's our calling card. And, we were very good at 80, like a 78 to 80 rating allowed. So far this year in man coverage, and that thinks about how big the rating must have been this week, because in week 1 we absolutely shut down the Cincinnati Bengals. We're giving up 130 rating in coverage and basically 10 yards and a target in coverage in man 1. And that's all from last week because, again, there was nothing week 1. How do you have to adjust on the fly who you are? Because it's sometimes it's horses for courses, right? They say that in golf all the time.
Yep.
But, I'm just looking right now and talking about the secondary. This is Baltimore. Their secondary, their cornerback room, they have 6 corners. They have 3 1s, a 2, a 4, and an undrafted free agent. Our cornerback room is Denzel and Newsome are both 1s. Then you've got undrafted free agent. Cam Mitchell's a 5, Miles Harden's a 7. There's going to be a drop-off. There's a difference between 1s and 2s and not in this league.
Yeah, I think that from Jim Schwartz's perspective, they had obviously great results after the first week, and so the game plan is going to be really similar. And to your point, his calling card has always been to play a lot of man coverage. That's where they're going to be at their best, but there is a huge drop-off from our second to our third coverage player. So I think what they were probably thinking in that game was, all right, it was great in the week 1. Let's keep putting these guys out there, these young guys, and see if they can continue to raise their level of play and all of a sudden become really, really good players. Obviously, it wasn't working during that game. If I had to give maybe a piece of, if I was Jim Schwartz, this was my argument. Well, we're behind most of the game. We have to make something happen. We're still hoping that those guys maybe early getting picked on was a little bit of an outlier, and they're going to figure it out because we're talking to them on the sideline. We want to give them a chance throughout most of this game. And because we're behind, we're more worried right now about them running the ball and beating us like that and sucking down the clock than we are with them hitting plays in the passing game, even though that's obviously what happened. But in that instance, it's like we're trying to get back in the game. We're trying to make something happen. It's a continuation a little bit of what happened last week. And we're hoping that maybe they can flip the script. And you know what? If it doesn't work throughout this game, we were already behind. We didn't want to die by a million paper cuts. And going into week 3, we're going to have to change our strategy because obviously teams are watching that on film and they're seeing the different players that they can pick on in man coverage. And the good quarterbacks are going to be able to check to it and find the matchup they like and then go at it. So being able to disguise now and maybe start playing some cover 5, which is man underneath with 2 deep safeties, where now you can start playing some help games with some of these guys that are getting picked on. And then you still have Newsome and you have Denzel on their island one-on-one playing man coverage with those guys. But the challenge is going to like a cover 5 against a quarterback like a Lamar Jackson. As soon as he sees that, he's taking off. And you got 5 dudes that are turning their back. And then the only people that can tackle them are your 2 safeties who are deep. So it's not a great coverage versus Lamar. So I'm sure Jim was thinking about all those things in the game and probably in that moment was like, all right, they're probably just going to keep running the ball. I just don't want to let them run the clock out. So let's just keep doing what we're doing, lean on these dudes, and give them the entire game to prove if they can do it or not.
All right, Hoff, time for the Trench Report, brought to you by Big Fig, the mattress made for more, crafted in Cleveland, just like our Browns. What do you make of the position that around here you made famous? We got crazy stuff at tackle. Jack Hurd, obviously, we know that. But then this platooning with DeWand and KT. What do you make of the tackle situation as we currently stand?
Well, I think DeWand played a little bit better in the game when he was out there this week than he did last week. And so that steady progression, I think, is positive. But I'm hoping that he understands he needs to get in better shape to be able to play a full game, because I think that was the report coming out of there.
The heat.
That it was hot. You know, I get it. I played in September games where, you know, it's been cold for a couple weeks and all of a sudden it's, you know, upper 70s and it's sunny and you're sweating and it feels hot and you're getting tired. But you have to be in good enough shape to be able to play through those hot games, because hey, you're going to play some games in Carolina, in Tampa, in New Orleans, in the Dome, which gets super hot. Like, you're going to have to deal with that. And so if you want to be a great NFL player, I hope that this is a wake-up call for him a little bit about, hey, I really need to get in better shape, and that's up to me. That's not somebody else being able to get me in shape, because I need to play every snap because that's what the position demands.
Yeah, so it sounded like it was kind of a something they decided on before the game, was that he was going to get a few plays or series off every now and then to, you know, and it was hot there. I'll be honest. I was down on the field. It was very humid. It was a very Maryland.
But it ain't Tampa.
No, it certainly was not Tampa. It was surprising. Listen,
It's in its
Denzel,
80s,
who's an
right?
incredibly conditioned athlete, missed the majority of the game with cramps.
It made me think that I don't know. I almost thought that maybe there was an illness with Denzel. Like, that just was.
So they said all we were told was cramps.
Yeah. But
So-
I just think as a professional, I mean, he's in great a shape as he is. It just seems
course.
impossible that he would. I don't know. Who knows?
The whole thing was
strange.
surprising. I mean, and
Yeah.
then KT Levison went in, and there were a couple plays where he went the wrong way, and you could see Joel and everybody being like, "What?" And Flacco got a hit, and then they said, "That's it. I don't care. Like you're
That's enough.
That's
Yeah.
enough. We've seen enough of that."
And I think one thing that I learned as I got older was, yes, you can fight through when you're starting to get those cramps. So I used to get like the heat migraine headaches when I would sweat a lot in really hot games where I'd start seeing stars and it was hard to see the defense. And I learned maybe about my third year that if it's a game that it's 70 degrees or above, I'm getting an IV before the game. And I'm telling those trainers to have one queued up for me at halftime, because if I run it at halftime and I'm feeling like I'm getting drained, I need those fluids right away. On the sideline, I was drinking Gatorades with 3 Gator Lights, which is basically like electrolyte salt powder that they put in there, because I wanted to stay ahead of it. And I knew that that was an easy insurance policy for my insurance guy there, Z, that I could take and make sure that I wasn't going to have these problems. And so yes, I joke, and we've joked before about how long it took me to get ready by the time I was in my last year in the NFL. But you go through these things as a player. Okay, it wasn't that hot by like a temperature standpoint. It wasn't like we were playing in Tampa, but it was hot and I was sweating a lot and it affected how I could play. Is there something I can do to mitigate that in pregame? Okay, if it's over 70 degrees, I'm getting an IV. And I'm staying ahead of that, because once you get those cramps and once you start feeling that fatigue from the lack of fluids and from that heat, like it's hard to catch back up to that. So hopefully DeWand understands those things. It's, of course, obviously being in better shape, which he's in better shape than he has been in the past, but still not good enough to play the whole game, which is the requirement of the position. But then also, what can I do from a hydration standpoint outside of just drinking water, which, okay, drink more water. Well, I'm just going to pee more before the game then.
Right.
But I need to get electrolytes in my body days before. I need to add more carbs, which allows my cells to expand a little bit to absorb more water and more of those electrolytes. And then before the game, if it's hot, I'm going to get my IV right away, because there's no downside. Yes, it takes another 30 minutes to sit in there and get an IV on the table before the game, but it's worth it because I'm going to feel better and I'm not going to get worn out and get cramps during the game, and I don't have to worry about that.
DeWand played, and he played well in this game. 1 pressure allowed on 44 pass blocking opportunities. That's very good. He had allowed 7 in week 1. For him, and I know you've been mentoring him, and I don't know kind of how that's going on during the season, but you know, you go back and you watch his one-on-ones with Trey Hendrickson, who was the reigning sack champion week 1. He didn't allow a single pressure on Trey Hendrickson, and yet he allowed 7 pressures in the game. So it feels like he's capable, obviously, of doing it against the very best, and we've seen his tape against whether it be Micah or T.J. Watt or Nick Bosa, and he can do it. How do you get that to be consistent? Because I think if he does that, he has a chance to be a Pro Bowler if he can be consistent.
And that was the theme of all of my conversations I had with him in training camp, and that's continued to be the theme as I text with him during the season. Like, bro, look at your potential. Look at your size and your athleticism and your strength and what you can be if you have the proper fitness level and you have the proper attention to detail during the week. And I was really happy that I saw an improvement. We talked after the game about a couple things with his hands in the pass pro that kind of was shortening the corner. And it was great to see that improvement being made. And to me, that's when I have hope and optimism in a guy, right? Is like, okay, these are the corrections we need to make. You can't fix them all at one time, but if we can correct one of them and keep everything else the same, like we're making progress and we're heading in the right direction. So I was happy with that. But for him, understanding that the fitness is so important, because as you get tired, fatigue makes a coward of us all. And it starts affecting your brain and how you're thinking and the details that it's going into every single play and every single time that you're walking up to the line of scrimmage. And so that fitness is just so important, not only for just going out and being able to run and play and do your assignment, but also for how the lack of fatigue will affect you when you're on the sideline, when you're in the huddle, when you're getting ready to get that next snap in. I think about it like, I've been hanging tree stands last week at the farm, and I try not to do more than 5 hours of like hanging in the tree, because it's very mentally and physically tiring. And I can feel myself getting lazy, which in that situation, when you're 30 feet up in a tree, you don't want to allow yourself to be that way, because you have to be very, very, very detail oriented and like on a razor's edge with every movement you make, because it's you and, you know, a 30-foot fall. And so you don't want to let yourself get into that situation where fatigue is starting to play on your mind and how you're approaching things and the corners that you cut when you get tired.
Well, Hoff and Z, the good news with all of this is that our reward for the 0-2 start is we get to play a team that's really struggling in the Green Bay Packers, and we get to do so. They get an extra 3 days of rest, too.
Yeah. Well, they need it.
So they need the rest to get right, and so we have that. I mean, they're a buzzsaw. I think they've been the best, most impressive team in the NFL the first 2 weeks. Obviously, you continue to reside in the great state of Wisconsin. This is a mammoth situation here on Sunday with them coming to town, is it not?
It is. And like you mentioned, the way you so eloquently set the table here, they're coming off of a really good Thursday night performance. They got a little bit extra time to prepare and get their bodies rested and healed up. But I think the Browns, they got to realize that their back is against the wall, especially on offense. Like, we need to show a different product out there, or the defense is going to start losing hope and optimism. And when that happens, you start to lose their effort and their preparation. And then you're not going to get the same level of success from the defense as the season wears on. If they feel like every time we go out there, it's the same old story that our offense can't piss a drop, and we're just wearing ourselves out to force a punt that three plays later, we're going to be running back out there. And so I think hopefully that mentality where, hey, our backs are against the wall and we need to put together a better showing on offense is enough of a wake-up call that they make some of these changes and they pay a bit more attention to the details in practice. And, you know, it's such a boring thing to say, but that is the difference, especially for a team that is going to try to win on very, very razor-thin margins with defense and running the ball and playing good on special teams. You got to understand that those details in practice are not optional, and it's not optional for any single person that walks out there and is on the offensive side of the football.
No, and it feels like right now, to kind of the point we were making, that we're kind of on the precipice of something here. And you know, obviously Joe Flacco's the starting quarterback. Dylan Gabriel came in relief. I don't think there was ever a scenario we thought we'd be in this game, Baltimore, that Dylan Gabriel was going to actually get action without the event of an injury. But yeah, it could get late, as we say, it could get late early because of just how tough this schedule is. You mentioned we got to get back to running the football, that kind of is the linchpin to all of it. I thought Quinshon, again, he came through and looked very good in that opener. But this was a passing attack with Joe Flacco that was, 300-plus yards a game in 2023. And so far, he ended up at 290 week 1, 199 this week. It just, the verticality isn't there. It almost feels like teams are able to simultaneously, and this is what scares me, we talked about the top, kind of put a bow on it. They're simultaneously able to kind of put the umbrella over us and say you're not getting the ball down the field, but at the same time, we're not able to do anything short. I mean, we threw a screen to Dylan Sampson that Kyle Hamilton read, and that's -3 yards. Pass to Judkins, -4 yards. Like, it's almost like they don't respect us going over the top, but then they're also saying we don't respect you doing anything short either, and they've eliminated everything somehow.
Well, that's the problem, and that's what the results are when your offense is not doing a very good job. But on that,
should we just all go have a drink? I mean,
yes,
is that where are we
there
at
we
the
go.
have a drink on a Monday, Hoff? Is that what's
Time for the bourbon,
only
baby.
things?
Let's go.
Let's go.
No, to your point, Z, on that screen, and like I was saying about the details, like it's like as a player, you'd sit there and the coach would just hammer it on the details. Everything matters, and you just get worn out hearing it. But it really is the difference because on that screenplay, the timing was a little bit off. I don't know if the running back was a little bit too wide on his aiming point because I'm not sure which play that was and where the aiming point exactly was, or the center was just a hair slow. And if the center's out just a little bit faster, if the running back's just not quite as wide, which I don't know if he's not supposed to be there or not, and that's my caveat. But that timing between those two guys is so important because once you make that block, now you've got a convoy of 2 or 3 other guys that are running down the field. The coverage has already dropped, and so you've got a great play. But just the tiniest little detail about how quickly you are releasing. Where's my aiming point when I do release? Where's my aiming point when I'm trying to catch the ball as the running back? And if you're off on those, then the whole play is screwed up. And an opportunity to make a big explosive play when you're still possibly in the game and it's gone because you're just off by that much, you know? And so just having that urgency in practice and understanding practice is when you make those corrections. You can't go out on Sunday and hope to do it, right? And that's why the practice is so important. That's why you have to take it so seriously.
Huff, you're the best, buddy. Thanks for your time as always on a Monday.
Appreciate it, guys. Great to talk with you. Always feel better after chatting with you fellas.
That's it. That's all you need. A little bit of the elixir. The great Hoff joining us for the Joe Thomas half hour of the program. And that'll do it for us as well. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.